Hey, this is the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and believe it or not, whether you like it or don't like it, learn to love it, because you have to listen to Wrestling is Real. It is the best thing going today. Woo!
The worldwide leader of podcasting excellence, the king of podcasts radio network proudly presents The Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.
King of Podcasts here with you with another Wrestling is Real podcast, episode 806 of the program. Thank you for listening in. Coming up in only a few more weeks, we're going to get into the 11th anniversary of the program. Man, it is just flying by. So tonight, we're going to go ahead and get ourselves started with the month of November. On the schedule, first off the bat, we have Crown Jewel this Saturday in Saudi Arabia. And then 2 weeks after that, we have Full Gear from Los Angeles at the Kia Forum. All that set up and culminating. And then also we have Survivor Series later on after that, right? So we got a lot going on as we basically wrap up the year. And once we get past Survivor Series, we'll go ahead and see what they're going to do with that. And we kind of just going to go into the best stuff. We get into the year-end stuff. Recapping a very rampant, crazy year in professional wrestling. Where when we talked about last week's show and the return of TNA as a brand with NWA now coming to the forefront with a national network presence and a growing territory system in place as well. All that is coming in and culminating into something really special right now for all of wrestling going across. And then the ongoing things with AEW and WWE. But here's the thing. Listen, everybody's all talking about, oh, in the last couple of days I've been seeing, look, there's all these TikToks and people talking about, oh, AEW's got no fans in their stadiums. Yeah. We talked about that last week. And, you know, they keep showing videos of that. I got it. But you know what? One of the people on Twitter I regularly watch on a regular basis, when I also look at a lot of things when it comes to, you know, how wrestling's doing so far. WrestleTix. If you're not following at WrestleTix on Twitter or now X, you need to, because they just do so much. And look, I look at what they have in their shows and what they're having available for certain events, and I'm looking at myself, I'm like, listen, why is everybody going after what AEW is going through? Now listen, they are doing some things where ticket sales have been not as good as they were. They're not selling out shows as much as they are, but I think that's also because, you know, they're on the road a lot. You get the show now, it was only once a week. Now they're going twice a week on the road, and there are only certain cities you're going through every time they come through. So, like, you know, for some AEW crowds, they're constantly going. And that's part of the thing they have set up. Now, the other thing I noticed too is that they're also taking certain arenas and they are setting up for shows to be where they're not going to have certain things going on. Here's the thing. When I look at the thing right now with AEW Dynamite, which was in Louisville tonight, 8 hours ago, around 4 o'clock, WrestleTix put out a note and said that on the map that they had for the show, you can see there was a part that was fully opened and there was areas that were partially opened, right? And so if you're looking at it, they're showing that the fact that the crowd was going to be predominantly shown during the camera side of the arena. And they're not necessarily going to be able to fill the whole arena. Current setup for the show, 4860 at the KSC Yum Center. And at that time, 3,616 tickets, 1,244 tickets remaining. So 75% full. Now, there have been other shows that had the same thing going on. Collision, same thing, 3/4 full. Coming up for the Kia Forum, that's in 2 weeks, November 17th. Probably a chance they'll probably be able to sell that out. I mean, right now, it's what there is across the board. Look, some shows might not sell out. Got it. But you're not seeing it on TV. They're not doing so much to have to go and cover up. But look, if the WWE Bubble fans want to go ahead and continue to go ahead and shit on the product, which I've already talked about before, hell, I put clips out about it on social media. Whatever it is, man. But Survivor Series is 3 weeks away. And as far as I know, no matches have been announced, right? Nothing as of yet. And then we're going to have to wait until see what happens after all said and done here with Survivor Series, or actually what's going on before that. But right now, Crown Jewel's everything. And so hopefully there's some things out of Crown Jewel that will make the show important. But if you already saw the title of my program, tonight's episode, I don't think any new champions are going to be crowned. I don't think we're going to see any changes at all going on at Crown Jewel. They're going to keep everything as is. I'm going to make some points on where I think that's going on. So that's what they're planning for that. Now, no matches have been announced for Survivor Series. And WrestleTix already shows that currently, this is of 12 hours ago, that the Rosemont Allstate Arena outside of Chicago normally sells out. Currently set up for $16,860. And at the moment, they still have 1,300 tickets left to sell. They're going to sell out. We already know. But that's the idea, is that Survivor Series was not just a straight up sellout, because there's been nothing on the card to dell out. The other thing too you got to mention of is that with Dynamite, they're not able to go ahead and promote. They can promote the card like maybe a week before, but still, to get enough people to go and say, "Oh, here's the card. Here's what's going to be going on," and they go. They're not doing it where they're always booking so far ahead, and they were doing that for a while. They were doing what they could in terms of pushing out events on a regular basis, but it's one of those things that I think part of it could be that the card is just being a bit changed up. And that's one of the things that people have to consider. For Monday Night Raw, right now coming up next week in Washington, D.C., after Crown Jewel, the Fallout, 2 weeks before Survivor Series. And the Capital One Arena, which is set up to have 8,000 seats. Okay. They have 75% full and about 1,900 tickets left to sell. SmackDown was last time there, and they filled out the place at 13,475, March 3rd, 2023. So if you want to go ahead and play along with the, AEW's got some empty seats. Well, WWE also gets those too. We just don't, if you're going to go ahead and care about that, it's nitpicking. It's petty squabbles. Remember, it's petty squabbles. You just don't care. But everybody wants to get caught up on that because that's what they want to feel. For whatever reason. And by the way, there was also a thing that they put out as well, where we're seeing the average of AEW Dynamite shows and where they went across the board. And there have been some shows they've been able to pull more than others. So that had a couple 10,000 plus shows, 10,000 plus seats. And I was in Seattle, Inglewood of the Keeler Forum at the start of the year. Almost 9,000 for Boston Mass for the first time they were in Boston in that big TD Garden Arena. And 11,263 for Flushing, New York, which was Arthur Ashe Stadium. Listen. Which is look, their tickets might be softening up a little bit, but, they're out there a lot, and people can go and catch their shows on a regular basis. More than they ever have been before. And that's part of the ground they're covering right now. They're still not hitting the bigger arenas. Like, the thing is, they're not picking these big arenas that they're not going to be able to go and sell out. Not on purpose, anyway. But you look at the crowds, they're not that bad. I mean, I still see crowds out there for everybody, but everybody wants to go ahead and pick all that going on. I'm like, all right, fine. You want to go ahead and shit on this? Go right ahead. But I don't see what the petty squabble is about the ticket sales that it's about such a big deal for these people, for all these fans out there, for all my fellow podcasters doing shows about this on a regular basis. For what? Who cares? And I have to come on here and say who cares. But obviously I must say something, because you know what? It just bothers me that this petty squabbling goes on. As a fellow podcaster out there for, 806 episodes, 11 years under my belt doing this show, I think I got a little bit of clout to go ahead and say something about this. How about I just stop it? Okay? And it's from the lowest ends of the, lowest common denominator WWE fan to the AEW fans that are bitter towards WWE fans and just can't help themselves to go ahead and punch back. Meanwhile, WWE fans are punching down, as they always do. No one is without any kind of fault, okay? Everybody's at fault for this. Just by me talking about it. helps to amplify it just a little bit more than it should. But, you know, what are you going to do about it? Anyway. So when it comes to the product itself, WWE right now, Crown Jewel's coming out this weekend. And I'm going to tell you this. I had never been more interested in the TV product than I am now. Since SummerSlam, I mean, it's quite predictable what they're going to be doing with their show. And even with Triple H under control. The show is now basically, you know, you look on the .com or you look at what they're doing on a regular basis on TV to lead up to pay-per-views or to lead up to just on shows that they have on. Not a lot of attention to detail when it comes to that. And that bothers me a lot about that. I just don't get that part. Now, when I look at what they've done for the show this time around and setting things up like Raw and SmackDown, listen, they're not shows that I'm catching myself out of my way to go and watch. They're just not. And they haven't been because they can't do much with the storylines that they have right now because there's just not much. There's a lot of staleness in the storyline when you look at certain things because of also the overexposure they've had on certain factions and certain things they've been doing. So you look at Raw, which, you know, ratings were dropped for the show itself, by the way. But also, you know, there's nothing they can do to go up against Monday Night Football or go against other competition in general that they can really reach out to. The show got in under 1.4 million viewers, which was down from 1.476 million viewers the week before. So for themselves, it's a struggle for WWE right now to go ahead and keep the audience to watch the regular TV show. Now, I do catch myself watching the clips on YouTube, but that's about it. Now, granted, you have the NFL, Monday Night Football, 15.2 million viewers watching Monday Night Football on ESPN and ABC collectively, and the World Series. World Series, 8 million viewers. Lower than normal, but they still took away a big chunk of the audience. Maybe there are some people that decided to go ahead and either watch World Series or watch NFL. And that's going to take away some of their audience. And to the younger viewership, which normally would get themselves, like, say, we're like around a 0.60 or 0.55 or something like that, then they would have a particular 18 to 49 audience. Well, let's just say that about a fourth of that audience left for football or basketball or for baseball. And that's what they did. And that's a struggle for them. But they have to go along and just figure things out. So on the show on Monday night, leading up to it, and we'll talk about SmackDown first, right? So setting things up for Crown Jewel, the Roman Reigns LA Knight contract signing, and LA Knight being the most annoying version of himself on the show, but he gets the upper hand on Roman Reigns. Okay? That's what they wanted to make it look like. And if you hear what he says to set up things, you know what? I should go and just play this damn thing back. I think I'm going to do that. Because listen, I tried to listen to Roman Reigns and LA Knight and the contract signing, and it just did miff me a little bit because I was like, man, that's not. I wish I could have heard better. But look, we're going to go ahead and play some of it. Because I think we should go ahead and make the point that the contract signing was set up, and, you know, LA Knight and what they thought would be a good idea to go and do here to really set things up. You know, I'll play it for you and we'll see how it works out. Because Roman sounds like he does, right? Pretty standard Roman Reigns material. But it's the way they're trying to position LA Knight to try to get more out of him. So let's play this real quick.
Something. Have you ever had a contract signing? I got one more question. Have you ever had a championship match before?
And in the WWE universe, of course, they can't recognize Impact Wrestling or Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. Back to the.
I didn't think so. So that means you got no clue what you're doing right now. But don't you worry. Your tribal chief, I'm gonna go easy on you. We're going to make it real nice for your first time. Don't worry. We're going to go real gentle with you. All right? All right, sweetheart?
Now, one of the things I didn't like on this particular segment is that, listen, LA Knight is wearing sunglasses, and that's part of his gimmick. That's part of his look. Should have taken them off to show real seriousness. I don't know why they didn't do that, but they chose not to. And so they go ahead and Roman sign into the contract. And like I said, LA Knight continuously just stays very quiet, nothing going on. And then Roman's pen doesn't play. They go along with it.
That concludes my responsibilities this evening. I want to wish you both the very best of luck at Crown Jewel.
Now the response by LA Knight, which I just did not care for, but I'm going to analyze it for you.
Hey, Roman. As far as where I'm looking, I'm the head of the table, so acknowledge me.
Now, they already made mention of this on commentary before that LA Knight took the head of the table as a visual, but I guess they had to go ahead and reinforce it.
You want to talk about my first contract signing. You want to talk about my first WWE Championship match, and you're right. Isn't that crazy? And you also say you're going to go gentle on me. My God, that's sweet of you. And I hope you do. Because if right now you think that you're going to underestimate this man because it's my first time around, my friend, you are already beat. But I'm going to put it to you like this. Is this my first time? Hell yeah, it is. So I'm sitting here and I'm just thinking to myself, after only a single year, I'm sitting at the head of this table about to take your title. And it climbs so fast, you don't even know what hit you. And by the time we get to Crown Jewel, you're going to be thinking to yourself, what the hell just happened? He just walked out with my WWE Championship.
Still doesn't take the sunglasses off.
But see, you don't understand. Yeah, this is my first time, but I only need one time. Because while you failed over and over again, while you were busy doing suffer and succotash,
scripted talking point.
I've been out here run one, telling everybody whose game this is. Not yet. Because there can be only one WWE champion. Yeah, there can only be one me. Yeah, and guess what? It's coming up real soon, and there's nothing you can do about it, and that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life.
Now, somewhere in that clip, he should have taken the sunglasses off. We should have seen the intensity in his eyes, and he's staring down at Roman Reigns. And for them to only give him the suffer and succotash line, by the way, as everything, okay? There was nothing tangible in the promo that gave Roman anything more than the fact that Roman was being agitated, for the most part, where LA Knight was a pest, cutting him off as his grand entrance, right? Cutting him off at every turn and just being an annoyance. But that's the most they wanted to get out of him. So LA Knight looks more like the heel than Roman Reigns does. And Roman Reigns, and by the way, you don't even see Roman dealing with anybody else out there. Yeah, there's the interference when necessary of Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa, but honestly, they're off to the side. They're off to the side. Not even out here for this until after. Which I was trying to understand, why is it that we're seeing that? But we see what it was. But no matter what, this is the biggest match that LA Knight could ever have on this roster or in this company. This is it. Undisputed World Heavyweight Championship. Universal Championship, excuse me. Universal Championship. And to do this, and this is the best he's going to get. This is his contract signing. This is his moment. Nothing memorable in all of that. Oh, he brought up suffer and succotash. That's bland. And listen, if it's him where he's not being totally scripted. Remember, we talked about that so much. Randy Orton being scripted so much. LA Knight has to be able to sell this match on promo ability. Where is that real promo ability we've gotten that would really get him like that? I don't see it. It's just Eli Drake. I want something more. If we're going to go with this route, we need an amplified turn up to 11. Because the LA Knight gimmick is just the NXT gimmick as it is. Like, put it to you like this. So if you want the NXT gimmick, which worked really well in NXT at Full Sail or in the Performance Center, fine. But then you want to go ahead and move it over here to the main roster. Listen, everybody's all caught up on the cheer of the and a guy that can just talk like The Rock and Stone Cold combined. And that's it. Like, there's really not much else to this character. He's very one-dimensional. But it's just enough for the crowd to get behind him. But the crowd can get behind him no matter what. Okay? This crowd, once LA Knight loses to Roman Reigns, you do understand that what's going to happen is LA Knight's just going to go back down the totem pole. Because he has not truly had any real significant feuds to put him up to this spot. He's being elevated to this main event spot because he needed to find somebody to just be beaten and Roman to have a match with at Crown Jewel. That's it. Roman Reigns needed an opponent. They can't go back to John Cena. They're not going to rehash Brock Lesnar. They already did Logan Paul last year. Who else you got? We can't go to Cody yet. We're not going to bring in Seth because he's got his belt. Who else you got? Okay. LA Knight fits a role here. And they propped him up. They did give him a couple of feuds, right? They did give him, a little thing with the U.S. title against Santos Escobar, right? Okay. They gave him The Miz. What else? Like, really, what have they done with LA Knight to really bring him over the top and get him up to this fever pitch level? All he's getting right now is just SmackDown, and he gets a chance to go ahead and do his shtick, and that's it. Oh, remember? Given the situation, not much better of a promo than he did when he had Austin Theory and Grayson Waller to deal with, right? Or we had John Cena out on his alongside him, going up against. Right? There's that too. What more are you getting from this? I mean, the John Cena rub, the contract signing, all these placeholders here, all these significant things that you're supposed to get in this main event spot, trying to get the belt. Is there anything that makes you think at all that LA Knight is going to come out of this and Triple H and WWE Creative is going to say, oh, you know what? After 1,300 days, LA Knight's so over. We need to go ahead and switch the belt. No. If Roman Reigns loses to LA Knight, I will stop doing this show. If Roman Reigns, now, if he loses the belt, and I'm not talking about DQ, let me make this clear. If Roman Reigns loses to LA Knight, and LA Knight comes out of Crown Jewel, the WWE champion, the Universal champion, if that is what they're going to book, I will stop doing this show. I give up. I don't believe it. So please, everyone, just remember the fact that we're just going to get this show as is, and that's fine. It's basically a big exhibition. We talk about it. It's a big house show. A lot of great matches on there. But there's no movement forward. When we actually should have something moving forward into next year's WrestleMania. Like, the one thing I do know is that probably Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, they'll probably have a rematch. I don't know if The Rock's coming back in to go ahead and take that spot. He very well could. But you have that set up. But there's no one else to be set on the spot to be the predecessor to Roman Reigns. No one is. Cody can be. And that's based on just what he's done at AEW. And being booked strong throughout the whole run, right? And this is not where Cody Rhodes was built up. Cody Rhodes was already at a main event level at WrestleMania 2 years ago, or a year and a half ago. He's been at the top ever since. What do you guys want to talk about? And that's it. Cody is set in his spot, never lost his spot. He's been at the same spot, predominantly main event level in everything he's been doing. And they're keeping him up there for the eventual redemption of saying, okay, Roman's going to lose to somebody. It's going to be Cody. Because I don't see anybody else taking that spot from Roman Reigns. And when Roman's ready to go to Hollywood and start making some deals, because, you know, there's not a lot of action stars going on in Hollywood, then Roman's going to go get picked out for doing some movies, who knows what, and he'll get picked on, and he'll get auditioned, and he'll get cast, and off to Hollywood he goes, just like The Rock did. And who do you have in the bullpen ready to be the starting pitcher? Ready to go ahead and lay it out there and be the face of this company while Roman is away. Because Roman's going to take some time off again. You know that. The story we already saw. Roman's going to take some more time off. So what do you do next after that? Like when you're going to get to the point, what is it that you're going to do next? Because he's already talked about doing that. That eventually it's going to happen down the line. He's taking some time off at WrestleMania, a little bit of time after SummerSlam. I mean, Roman's working the deal that he has. They're protecting him. And one of the stories that came out from Cage Side Seats a month ago, they talked about the fact of the title defenses for Roman Reigns. And saying that, okay, Wrestling Observer, you know, they didn't have anything set up for him to defend his title until Crown Jewel. Right? Nothing at Payback, nothing at Fastlane. And there were reports he suffered a hip or back injury during his match against Jey Uso in Detroit. And then people were asking about what are the possible opponents for Roman when he does return. Jimmy Uso's been trying to regain his spot, lost to AJ Styles during the time in September, and Judgment Day was trying to recruit Jay into the group on Raw. And so there were options between Styles and the OC and Damian Finn Balor's group when it comes to opponents for Roman Reigns. But at the moment right now, we're seeing that Cody is still the one star that we can see that can go and move forward. And that's it. But there's nobody else in that roster that's being prepared or set up. As always, the continuous issue. Well, this company doesn't want to have multiple stars vying for the belt. Compared to what MJF is going through right now in AEW. Kenny Omega, Wardlow, Jay White, among others, that are going to go after MJF in the world title. And they've been doing that. And they set up Full Gear right now. Jay White's going to have the chance to go after that belt. He already had to go through Kenny Omega on Collision on Saturday in a great match to set up a title defense for MJF. And by the way, he's going to defend the Ring of Honor Tag Team titles as well at Full Gear along with the world title. The world champion over there is working double time. He's working a lot. And so they have that set up and like, well, you know, it makes sense. They're doing what they can. Meanwhile, if you look at SmackDown, you know, the normal run-of-the-mill feuds they have that are going on, okay. With Rey Mysterio, LWO, and the Street Profits are setting that up, pinning them against each other. You have Austin Theory and Grayson Waller being pinned together, which I don't like that pairing at all. Anyways. Dragon Lee is out there working on SmackDown, and him and Cedric Alexander wrestling. So you're getting matches that are with quality wrestlers, right? But there has to be entertainment behind it, okay? WWE is still going to be sports entertainment. That's what the company bought. So Triple H just can't make this a wrestling company. I don't think they could do that. They have to go and keep what Vince's vision was. Without Vince being there. So figure that out. John Cena has to use the fact that he wants to not lose anybody's respect. So when he sets up for his match against Solo Sikoa, And they set up, and they're doing their setup for that match coming up at Crown Jewel. Bianca Belair talking about how she said getting cashed in on and losing her title followed by Damage Control put her out of action, did not something to her physically but mentally. Couldn't focus on anything other than Damage Control. She wants a rematch against Io Sky. And they go on with that. Like, there's just a lot of the same stretching out of storylines that we have, because what else are you going to do? So yeah, LA Knight was able to get a move on Roman Reigns at the end of the night and come out looking strong, which should tell you everything that LA Knight's not winning as well, because they always do that to the person that's going to lose. And then when you had Greenville, South Carolina, back out there and setting up matches for the night, Judgment Day, like clockwork, is out there. And they're out there a lot. And their deal is they want to go after Sami Zayn. All right. And JD McDonough is still part of this, which I don't care for. Alpha Academy and Creed Brothers against each other. Creed Brothers took a challenge from NXT and moved up to the main roster to go ahead and take on the Alpha Academy. Got it. Gunther on Miz TV. And now Gunther and Miz. Okay, so Gunther now doesn't get Sheamus, doesn't get Drew McIntyre. Now where he's going to get Miz. That's where you have to go next. When you have no one else to go ahead and put up, but you have to put somebody that's somewhat credible, Miz. So Gunther tells the Miz, you are beneath me, I don't respect you. You know what? I'll go and play this too. Because there's the other part where, I mean, look, you see what they're doing here and like the setup for it. A bit of a clash of styles with everyone out there, all right, when it comes to Gunther and Miz and doing their thing out there. Like, it's just, doesn't work for me either. But, you know, they try it anyway. Here's the clip of Gunther going after the A-lister and how it turned out.
You know, I can be serious when I want to be. I was serious when I beat Randy Orton for my first WWE Championship. I was serious when I beat John Cena in the main event of WrestleMania. I was serious when I won my second WWE Championship over a decade later. And let me tell you something, and I want you to really understand me. So I'm going to speak very, very slowly. I was very serious when I made that title on your shoulder the most prestigious and relevant title in all of WWE.
By the way, must make this mention too, that with The Miz, the guy is a consummate pro. He is WWE through and through, company guy. He just does it. He has it down pat. And honestly, if The Miz were to be up towards the main event, going up against Seth Rollins, I wouldn't be fazed by it. I think it would be just fine. Because Miz is always around that main event level. So when they ended up putting him in this match right now with Gunther, because Gunther has this long reign and the IC title has been pushed up pretty good. Yeah, former IC champion. Several times over. And Miz comes out here and goes and, confronts Gunther. Yeah, it makes sense for me. Now, I think there's probably a better chance that Gunther might get more out of the rub working with Miz than LA Knight did. Listen, the Miz and LA Knight worked with each other. It was a dud. And it wasn't because of the Miz. I'm not going to blame the Miz. I'm going to blame LA Knight. LA Knight did not come with the A game against this guy, the A-lister, right? So he doesn't do the best against the Miz, but yet he still gets a chance to go and have the world title, the universal title shot against Roman Reigns at Crown Jewel. You know, it doesn't make sense to me. Where, I mean, was it only a couple months ago, LA Knight is just kind of like rolling around with Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, dealing with them on a particular night. But he gets to get the rub with John Cena in a tag team match and the main event spot at Crown Jewel. Well, just realize nothing's been built by him anyway. So just keep this in mind. As they've tried to do the build up for LA Knight, this type of really hollow hype, okay? This hollow build that he has should make you know he's just a paper opponent that will be taken down and will not beat Roman Reigns. Now, I don't say this because I have spite for LA Knight. No. Remember, I liked him as Eli Drake. And the LA Knight character, I just wish he wasn't doing it here. Like I said, his better stuff was, I just wish you would have gone somewhere else. Listen, I heard the interviews with him talking about the fact that the Max Dupree character was not something he wanted to do. He wanted to go into the LA Knight thing. Well, you know what? He didn't need to be the LA Knight thing. He could have just been a promo cutter and do something else. I honestly think he was going to do better with a different gimmick. Was it not Maximum Male Models? Probably. So what if he was just the same Max Dupree character without the Maximum Male Models? What if we just had that? Would that have been okay? Because I think seeing him coming out here, not as Eli Drake, redressed as LA Knight, would have done better for him. We don't need him to do what they did with Brian Pillman Jr. and create Lexus King all of a sudden. Anyways, but we could have done something more with LA Knight. And then maybe we could have still had something more with The Miz, something more tangible. But this is where the company decides, well, Triple H says, well, do your character. No, sometimes this character doesn't have to be that. Maybe there's just some things that Vince used to make people do that was probably right. There's a method to his madness. Was it always good? No, but at least the gimmicks would make sense sometimes. Sometimes we would get somebody over with a gimmick and it would actually kind of work. Anyway, back to Gunther here, responding back to The Miz.
And I have no problem doing it again.
Is that it? Are you serious? No, seriously, I get it. You're one of the greatest sports entertainers in history. So you are all about creating memorable moments. Why not create a Miz TV moment you'll never forget? Jungs, nehmt den Laden auseinander, kommt.
Now, to do the thing with the Halloween stuff with the pumpkins, let's go and skip past this.
You are not in my league.
Well, there's that. Listen. Gunther and Miz set up that match. Why not? What else are you going to do, right? So they went ahead and set it up. Let's see what they can do with it. By the way, that match will not be a crown jewel. You just have to set the match up. And, it's whatever it is. But to just get some things moving forward right now with, they have a couple of young stars they're trying to work with, but like everything just moves so slowly in this machine. And the momentum they need for some of their stars to really go and come out and do something. Like, you want your TV to do better, you got to do something more tangible or more, visually pleasing or just distracting to keep people to go and keep coming and flipping onto the damn show. But every time I flip back to the show, I'm not interested. I can see what's going to happen. I can already predict it. And I'm like, okay, I'm stepping off. This goes on constantly on this program. And I don't like that part. It's what I just don't get much of. But anyways, that's what they're going to do. Look, we're not going to go any farther into that. I think I made my point. Let's just go ahead and get things done right now and just do some preview predictions for the upcoming Crown Jewel show, which I will be doing a post show on Saturday night, kingofpodcasts.com. By the way, so the fact that the show is 1 o'clock Eastern time in Saudi Arabia means I'll get a chance to go and watch it. Along with the fact that I got FAU football, but they're on the road, so I'm not going to be going to any games. So I'll be home to watch it and check it out. So it looks like kickoff matches. We have Sami Zayn against JD McDonough. Let's just say Sami Zayn takes the win. Damian Priest and Cody Rhodes will be facing each other. I will take Cody Rhodes to the victory. I will take John Cena over Solo Sikoa. Rhea Ripley, I will say, will defend the women's world title and will beat Nia Jax, Raquel Rodriguez, Shayna Baszler, and Zoe Stark. I don't see a title change at all. Io Sky, you know, I believe there's going to be some DQ finish or something like that, but I think Io Sky doesn't win clean over Bianca Belair, and she'll retain the women's world title, the women's title. Rey Mysterio, Logan Paul, that should be a pretty fun match. And I think, you know, it would be really messed up if they decided to have Logan Paul hold the belt, but no, I think Rey Mysterio will hold on to it. Maybe Logan Paul wins, but then Logan Paul would have to be on the show. Like, is he going to stay around for stuff? I don't know. Not sure. I don't think so. I think Rey stays. I will be shocked if Logan Paul wins. If there's anybody that's going to win a title at Crown Jewel, it could be Logan Paul. Maybe that's it. Roman Reigns over LA Knight. As I said, I just don't believe it's going to happen. If Roman Reigns loses the belt to LA Knight, I stop this show. That's it. I'll stop the show. I'll do it. Hold me to it. Hold me to it. I'll take Seth Rollins over Drew McIntyre, and Drew McIntyre will eventually do the heel turn, as they're planning to see him do. That's it. I did not catch NWA Samhain, but I didn't miss much, it looks like, because there was no title changes that really made any difference. Besides the main, the pre-show that had 4 matches. Magic Inc. So there was the Devil's Last Dance Ultimate Hardcore War. Sal the Pal and Gags the Gimp are forever indentured to Father James Mitchell in that match. Russ Freeman over Brady Pierce. So Brady Pierce is out of the NWA. Colby Corino retains in a pillar to post match for the junior heavyweight title over Joe Alonzo. Southern Six win the Rock and Roll Tag Team match. Jack Stain beat Blake Bulletproof Troop in a submission match. Pretty Empowered retained the NWA Women's Tag Team Championships. Through Billy Silas Mason retained the NWA National Heavyweight Championship over Chris Adonis in a Burning Lake Brawl. Riddlebox 6-man tag team match. Brothers of Construction, Yabo and Rufo and Violent J defeated Vampiro and La Rebellion. And Kenzie Page, she retained over Ruthie J the NWA Women's World Championship. A successful title defense for Kenzie Page. Blunt Force Trauma beat Knox and Murdoch to retain the NWA World Tag Team Championships in the Knights of the Round Table Tables match, with no Aaron Stevens banned from the arena. And EC3 over Tom Lattimore for the World Heavyweight title in a No Limits match. And there was something else that happened the night where, I forget what it was, somebody went ahead and confronted Billy Corgan. I forgot who it was. I didn't get to see the whole thing, but like I said, I saw a couple highlights of it, but that's about it. So we'll leave it there. And that's it. That's the show for tonight. We're going to come back this Saturday night. We're going to do a post show for Crown Jewel. Set that up. See how that all works out. And I will do a show late that night and put it up right here, kingofpodcasts.com. And of course, you know, I have all my other content up there on the site, all my other programs, the Broadcasters Podcast, the Praise the Debaucherous, and the Podcasters Row. And also, you find clips of this program and all my other programs on social media at King of Podcasts. Make sure to follow the YouTube channel, subscribe, like, and share. And more importantly, please do go ahead and follow me on social media, X or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all that stuff. And come back for Crown Jewel. We'll talk about that this Saturday on another Wrestling is Real podcast, because wrestling needs us.